Welcome to the Boardroom. A podcast from Miami for Miami. Sponsored by Physical Therapy Now. If it's happening in the health and legal business, we're talking about it. Andy Zapata holds a bachelor's degree from Florida International University and has had a distinguished 18-year career in the healthcare business. He's an expert in startup businesses, helping grow small and medium-sized medical centers in healthcare industries. He knows what he's talking about. This is the Boardroom. And here's your host, Andy Zapata.
Thank you so much for joining another episode of the Boardroom. And today I have a very special guest, Gabriel Mazzitelli, personal injury attorney from Miami, Florida. Gabriel,
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on here.
honor to have you here again in this podcast. So, Gabriel, how about we share a little bit about who you are? Very brief, and then a fun fact about you.
Sure. I'm a personal injury attorney in Miami, Florida. I'm in a 5-attorney firm. I've been here for 3 years as a partner, and we've grown it, substantially in the last 3 years, and hope to continue growing in the near future. And fun fact, I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I've been doing it for 15 years, and that's how I get the stress of my days out, is by getting on the mats and trying to choke somebody out.
That is amazing. So, Brazilian black belt,
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. That is a hard accomplishment, because I know that your black belts don't just come with skill; they come with time. So, how long have you been practicing?
15 years, and I got my black belt after 8 years. So it took a while to get there.
Wow, that is some commitment. That is amazing. Congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you.
So let's dig into it. So, personal injury attorney from Miami, Florida, and I have some fun facts for the crowd here that's listening, because I'm just going to drop in here and say I saw and I read that you've won one of the top verdicts in 2019 for wrongful death cases, and you were ranked number 34 highest case in Florida for the top verdict. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it wasn't a wrongful death. It was it was a commercial case that we were brought in to try the case in federal court in Tampa, but it was one of the top verdicts in the state that year. We were brought in as a second attorney on the case. The first one didn't really, tee it up right. We came in to fix the mess, took it to trial in federal court. We were in Tampa for almost a week and a half. And we got the win, which is great. So we have a happy client. And yeah, it was a little out of my wheelhouse, but trial is trial, and I took my experience and what I've learned and applied it to the law in that case, and it worked out.
That's amazing. Congratulations to you. So, before we get into what trial means and all that stuff, because I really want to talk a little bit about what the difference between a trial attorney and a regular personal injury attorney is. But how long have you been an attorney?
I've been a little over 10 years. So I got barred in 2010.
Wow. So
December of 2010.
So 10 years, always in personal injury?
Yeah, always personal injury. Our firm does a little bit of everything. We do homeowners claims, insurance claims. We do PIP litigation, but the bulk of our practice is personal injury. And that's what I've always done. I started with tobacco litigation and mass tort work and catastrophic personal injury cases. Then I added some medical malpractice. So that's all in the personal injury world, right? It's you've been injured by somebody else. And there's different specialties, but we do it all. We do medical malpractice, we do auto accidents, slip and falls, small personal injury cases and catastrophic personal injury cases.
That's amazing. And 10 years ago, you became an attorney. And why did you become an attorney? Why did you choose, number one, why did you become a attorney? And then why in the personal injury space?
Well, I started working at a law firm when I was in college, in undergrad, just kind of as an office, tech guy. I set up the case management software and I ran that. And while I was there, I really didn't have any guidance as to what I wanted to do. in my future. But I, starting working at that firm, and I realized, hey, look, I like this. I like this investigation that you do. I like the whole trial aspect. I like everything that's going on here, and I think you're helping people, which at the end of the day, I like to do. So I really had two options. I could become a doctor, or I could become a lawyer, and I wasn't very good at math, so law was my path.
That is an amazing story. So worked for a legal department, worked for a legal attorney, and kind of just picked up the love for law at that point when you're working at what attorney were you working for, if you may say?
Alex Alvarez, the Alvarez law firm down in Miami. He's one of the best lawyers in Florida. He's a tobacco litigation guy. And he does, all he does is sue tobacco companies, and that's where I really got started. And it was a great experience, and I love them to death there. They're amazing, and I'm really happy for that chance that got me into this phase of my life.
That's amazing. They give credit to your initial mentor. That is a great accomplishment, my brother. Thanks for giving that credit. And so let's dig into it. So the difference, because I just heard you say a few minutes ago that you took a case to trial, but a lot of personal injury attorneys that I know don't take cases to trial. They kind of like get the cases, they file the claim. Sometimes they settle the claim real fast. Sometimes they file the lawsuit, and then somebody else takes it to court. What I'm hearing you say is that you actually take the case from the beginning all the way to the end if it needs to go to trial. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So I think there's three types of personal injury lawyers that you can find. You have the pre-suit lawyer, who will only do pre-suit work. They'll get the claim, they'll help the client get treatment, they'll work it up to the point where they send a demand, and they try to settle it. If it's not settled, they don't want to be in litigation. They don't want to file a lawsuit. They don't want to deal with that. So then I'll go on to the litigation lawyers who have experience in filing a lawsuit, setting the depots, doing the discovery, but don't have the trial experience. And then they'll bring in outside counsel, will help them, go to trial, try to get a verdict, help with the appeals issues, and lock it in. We do everything from the beginning. We do pre-suit, we do litigation, and we do trial. So we're a one-stop shop for cases.
That's amazing, and that's super needed in a law firm, because, like you said, they sometimes hire other law firms to kind of finish the job. So that's amazing, Gabe. Congratulations to you. So let me ask you, where's your office now? Where's your office located in Miami?
So we are on Kendall Drive and 77th Avenue. It's called people might know it as the Greenery Mall. There's like a guitar center and downstairs, but there's an office tower behind it, and we're in that office tower. So it's 7700 North Kendall Drive, Suite 505.
That's amazing. And Gabriel, in the next, like, if you can predict the future, and if everything was you had it your way, what would like your law firm look like in 5 years?
Well, I think we're growing to that, where we want to be, but I would like to have another 5 or 6 associates under us that, we can keep handling more and more cases. Right now we have 5 total lawyers. When I started, it was me and 2 guys with 2 staff members. We're up to 13 total now. So we've been growing year over year, and I want to keep it growing to the point where we can, provide as much service to South Florida and Central Florida, even North Florida. We travel for all our cases. And I want to become a established law firm down here where people know the name, they know they'll get good results, they have the attention that we provide. My clients, they all have my cell phone, so I'm dealing with calls all day long. Friday at 7:00, they're calling me for something, they're texting me. It's a very personal service we provide, and I think that's what makes us different than a lot of firms. And I want to keep that service, I want to keep that attention, and I want to grow, while providing the same service we've done for the last few years.
That's amazing, Gabriel, because not a lot of attorneys give their cell phone. But like I've always said, if you hire a personal injury attorney and you never speak to that attorney, how many of these big firms do you know that like, hey, call me 1-800, I don't know what, call me here, and they never ever speak to the attorney? How important is it to really speak to an attorney, not a paralegal, not a front desk, not a call center representative? Like, what's the difference between these bigger law firms that you never speak to an attorney, and that you're actually giving your cell phone to the clients? That's huge.
Well, I think a lot of the big law firms do it well. They have very good lawyers and do a very good job of pushing the cases and getting results. But they're so big that they just don't have the time to provide the attention to each individual client. But it doesn't mean they're bad lawyers. It's just, it's something that they can no longer offer. So, we as a 5-lawyer firm, we have a few hundred clients. We're growing. We have the ability to provide the attention, and that's one of the main things that we always want to provide. I mean, right now I can, if I pull up client on my phone, I just kind of scroll down. These are all clients that I have my phone that call me, like I said, at all times. So I just think it's important because when you call and you speak to a paralegal or assistant, they can give you an update. They can tell you your case is in litigation, your cases, your depo's coming up. We have mediation set, but they can't give you the why. They can't give you what the strategy is. They can't give you what the outlook is. They're not allowed to do that, or sometimes they just don't know. So when you talk to a lawyer, you get a very in-depth explanation. Hey, your depo's here. This is important because, we plan on trying to get to mediation. We're noticing it for trial. You give them the explanation that kind of sets them at ease. A lot of times they call and say, oh, it's still in litigation. I don't know what that means. And, to an assistant or paralegal, that's an update. Hey, we filed your case, it's moving, but they need more. And the lawyer can give them more, can kind of, it can relax them. A lot of times these clients are anxious, they're in pain, they're going through a lot, and they just need somebody to reassure them that things are going to go well, that things are going well. And that's what the lawyer can provide.
Yeah, and once you speak to a patient, once you speak to a client, and you have their phone, they have your cell phone, that is almost a client for lifetime, and it becomes almost like a family member and a friend. So I've seen that before. So congratulations to you for doing that. And Gabriel, if you can share like one success story that is like top of your mind, the biggest or most fulfilling success story that you've had, what would you say that one would be, if you can share with the crowd here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's my kids. More than professional or educational accomplishment, I think my kids they're the top thing in my life. So everything that I do for my family, for my kids. I'm very family oriented. I want to be able to provide them a life and be with them and be there for their daily activities. And that's what I love, is my and my wife. If she sees this, I don't want her to think she's out of that. Love her a ton too. But my kids are, everything to me. So that's my biggest accomplishment in my life.
So I hear a family man, I hear a fighter, jiu-jitsu. I just, I'd love to see how you act in the courtroom, with that Brazilian black belt attitude, but really kicking butt for your clients. How about professional success story? Can you share any of those? Like maybe like a client called you when they were in desperation in this model, and then these were the outcomes?
Yeah, I mean, recently, I had a case that was, and I can't get into too much detail about it, but I had a client who the prior lawyer had messed up the case pretty badly, and they actually just withdrew from the case. They walked away and said, "Hey, sort it out, figure it out yourself." And it came to me through another lawyer, and we took it. We were able to settle the case against the original defendant. And at that point, we turned around and realized, hey, this lawyer had done, they had messed up your case. So we turned around and we got additional settlement from the other lawyer because they really had done a disservice to their client. So this is a guy who went from almost getting zero to getting a substantial amount of money that really helped him out in life because he was in a bad spot. And that was I think that was a good one for me because, I was able to come in, fix a mistake, and get them a result that made them incredibly happy.
That is a huge win. And actually a point that I want to talk, because a lot of people are unhappy with their personal injury attorneys, or their attorneys that they never met, they never talked to, they don't get a straight answer. Then they think that the attorney sold out in the case. Can a client, can a patient switch attorneys in the middle of the case? And what are the repercussions? Because sometimes they're like, oh, I'm so unhappy with this, but I'm so scared because I don't want to switch attorneys. Like, what do you have to say about that to the listeners?
They absolutely can always switch attorneys. I tell my clients the very first time I meet them, I go, look, under the Florida bar, Florida law rules, you can fire me at any time you want. If I'm not doing a good job, you have the right to say, hey, look, I'm not happy with you. I'm going to go to somebody else. And that's okay. That's fine. I can't sit there and ask you for money and say, well, I worked for a year and a half, pay me. I can put a lien on the case, right? And if another lawyer settles it and gets the result for you, I can collect fees off of that, but I'm not coming after you personally. So absolutely, a client has a right to switch attorneys They're never stuck with the lawyer they initially hired. If they're not doing a good job, you can always talk to our lawyers, see what's going on. Why are you not getting the attention you're not getting from this attorney? And absolutely, they're more than welcome to find any lawyer that makes them happy, that they think is working for them. They're not stuck.
But it's not going to cost them anything out of their pocket, right? It's still out of the contingency, whatever the 33% or the 40% if they go to trial. The money comes out of that, and the attorneys just figure it out at the back end when the case gets settled, right?
Exactly. They're not. It's not an additional fee. It's not. You signed it for the 40% for litigation. Now you had another lawyer, and your first lawyer gets 40%, and the second lawyer gets 40%. I've had clients think that, and it's just not how it works. At the end of the day, there's a 40% fee that's going to the attorneys, and you're going to get your percentage, and the lawyers sort out who gets what on the 40% of 33 or 40% of the attorney's fee provision. So yeah, it's not extra to the client, and a lawyer should never ask him for money up front. If you got to pay the lawyer up front, you should immediately go to somebody else, because we fund cases for everybody, and that's part of the way it works here in Florida. And if a lawyer can't fund it, they're not gonna do a good job. They can't get the experts they need to. They can't push the case the way it has to be pushed.
That's amazing. And Gabriel, can you share some of the challenges that you've had at becoming an attorney, or kind of some of the challenges you've had as an attorney in personal injury in Florida?
There's not a lot of challenge. I mean, litigation itself is a challenge, right? Nobody ever wants to pay. I mean, that's, if the insurance company were paying what they're supposed to, there aren't any attorneys. So everything is a challenge, right? You're always fighting for every dollar you're trying to get your client. What's been a big challenge for us has been the last year, COVID, because there's been no trials. So trial is a teeth to settlement, right? If there's no end game, the insurance company is not paying. So what they're giving you is low offers. They're not giving the case the full value because there's no penalty for them. They know that there's no trial in sight for a year. I think they just started trials in Dade County again in March. So I've been in front of, I don't know how many judges this month, getting trial dates in September, October, November, as soon as I can, because I have all these cases that I just can't close because the defense has no incentive to close them. So that's I think one of the biggest challenges that we've seen.
Wow. So what I'm hearing you is that the cases are just taking a little bit longer because of COVID to settle. But they still have, what would you recommend if somebody gets into a car accident, slip and fall, somebody has a wrongful death in their family? What would you recommend people to do right away?
No, they absolutely need to contact an attorney, because, depending if there's an auto accident, there's a certain deadline for treatment, right? So if you don't go and get treated within 2 weeks, your auto insurance, your PIP might not cover you. If you fall at a store and you have delayed treatment, that's always something the insurance company or defense firm loves to wave around. Well, you got delayed treatment. Look, you didn't treat for a month and a half. How do we know that this fall caused your injury? So contacting a lawyer, even if you don't sign up with one, and just to get a consult, to say, hey, should I go to the doctor? Should I do this? Is absolutely a necessity if somebody gets injured. And just because there hasn't been trial for years, there aren't settlements. They're still there. It's still happening. It's just, it's not as I guess, easy or as fast as it was before. So you might get delayed a few months, but it'll still get you a result. You definitely, if you're injured, you have to contact, a lawyer or go see a doctor and document the injury, as well as you can, because any little thing that's wrong in the records, they'll take and use against you.
Wow, Gabriel. So call an attorney if you've been involved in a car accident. Call Gabriel. Gabriel, how do people find you? Can you share your phone number, maybe your website? How can people find you if they get into a car accident?
Yeah, absolutely. Our office phone number is 305-548-8750. Our website is www.jhmllp.com, which is Jimenez Hart and Mazzitelli, LLP, name of the firm. We also have myfloridalitigators.com, and we have a 1-800 number that I can pull up for your notes, 1-833-MY-FL-LAW, and they can contact us there.
That's a great number, by the way. That is a great number. Well, Gabriel, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to our listeners here. And everybody, if you've been involved in a car accident, slip and fall, wrongful death, don't feel shy. Call Gabriel. Mazzitelli, or call me and I'll be able to refer you to Gabriel. Thank you, Gabriel, again, for being here on the boardroom, sharing your heroicness, your past, your present, your future with the listeners. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you guys soon. Thank you, Gabriel.